I recently read a book by John S. Mbiti called African Religions and Philosophy. Let's be honest. Why is it that many African countries struggle with long-term planning? Why do governments fail to deliver even when they promise development? And why does the West seem decades ahead? Is this just politics or something deeper? In African Religions and Philosophy, Mbiti argues that traditional African societies experience time differently. Time is focused on the past and present, not the distant future. He introduces two key concepts. The first one is Sasa, the immediate present, which is the now and the very near future. The second one being Zamani, the deep past, where everything eventually moves. In his book, he claims that Africans have no concept of a distant future, meaning events only become real once they have happened or are about to happen. The far future, which is years and years ahead, is not a strong focus in African concept of time. In simple terms, it's not what will happen in the future, but what is happening right now and what has happened in the past. But here's the reality we cannot escape. Across much of Africa, infrastructure projects stall. Policies are announced but not implemented. Short-term survival often overrides long-term strategy. So the question is, could Mbiti be describing something real? But we need to be careful, because culture alone does not explain everything. Historically, farmers planned seasons. Kingdoms managed trade routes. Communities stored food for the future. That requires foresight and planning. So maybe the issue is not that Africans don't understand the future, but modern systems in Africa are failing to translate planning into results. So what do I mean by systems? What is a system? What constitutes a strong system in governance? Let's quickly explore 4 kinds of systems found in every strong government in the world. First, a system is a set of rules, institutions, and pressures that shape how leaders behave, whether they plan for the future or just survive the present. Let's talk about the first system in governance, the political system. When you talk about the political system, you are talking about power and accountability. When the political system is strong, leaders deliver results to stay in power. Elections are competitive. Media exposes failure. That is a strong political system. When a political system is weak, leaders rely on loyalty networks, party dominance, patronage, and the results of that is that focus tends to shift from long-term development to short-term survival. The second one is economic system. When you talk about economic system, you are talking about incentives. When the system is strong, then its wealth comes from productivity, industry, and innovation. Leaders must build for the future. But when the system is weak, then its wealth comes only from natural resources, state control, or aid. Leaders can survive without long-term development. That is a weak system. The third one is institutional systems. When you talk about institutional systems, you are talking about rules and enforcement. When institutional systems are strong, then that means corruption is punished, contracts are enforced, plans are executed. But when the institutional systems are weak, rules exist but are ignored. Corruption has no consequences. Projects fail without accountability. The fourth and the final system is the time discipline system. When this system is working and is strong, deadlines matter. Delays have consequences. planning is strict. When this system is weak, deadlines are flexible, projects drag on, no urgency for long-term completion. So by these four kinds of systems, the government can be both weak and strong, can be strong and weak. If you compare Africa with the Western countries, you will notice that the West is built on long-term planning, systems and institutions, accountability and execution. It's not just about thinking ahead, but following through. We all have the ability to think ahead, but we seem to be lacking in following through. The West is not ahead because it believes in the future, but because it builds systems that force the future to happen. So John Mbiti was partially right. He observed a cultural emphasis on the present, but may have overstated the lack of future thinking. The real problem today is not culture alone, but there's a huge gap between planning and execution. It's not a matter of does Africa believe in the future. The question is, why are we failing to build? So what do you think? How can we better align our cultural values with effective governance? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Until the next video, sharp sharp.